Right. Shalom, shalom. Back again. I'm in the Coburn Bible again. Um, I'm going to read to y'all the scroll of Ahmad. Imad. Or Ahmad. Or Imad. But I think it's Ahmad. Get this right for y'all. All right. The writings from the olden days tell strange things and of the great happenings in the times of our fathers who lived in the beginning. All men can know of such times is declared in the book of ages. But the gods had their birth in events and things which were in the beginning. And they talking about these gods, they talking about these fallen angels. It is told in the courtyards that there was a time when heaven and earth were not apart. Truth echoes even there, for heaven and earth are yet joined in men. It is written that God once walked the earth with man and dwelt within a cave above a garden where man labored. God encompassed all that is and cannot be contained in a cave. Look to the sacred writings for truth. It is told that woman made God angry, and he took himself into the sky, removing heaven from man because of his disgust for woman. It is also told that man offended God by imitating him. Wow, these are tales made by men. This is not wisdom, for the sacred writings reveal the plans of God, and these things cannot be as told. It is the talk of the courtyard. It is the knowledge of the outer place. Men talk of the land of Oben, from whence they came. Not from Oben towards the south came men, for the great land of Ramaku first felt his step out by encircling waters. Over at the rim it lay. Well, that just confirmed what Kondrot was talking about when he says the water circles clockwise and counterclockwise. Because it say right here, I'm gonna just read the whole thing over again. It says, "Men talk of the land of Oben, from whence they came. Not from Oben towards the south came men, for the great land of Ramaku first felt his step out by the encircling waters. Over at the rim they lie." The water is circling, at the rim, like Kondrop said. He said right there at the ice wall, the water circles around one way, and then where we at, they circle another way. So that just pretty much confirmed the outer rim. There were mighty men in those days, and of their land the first book speaks thus: their dwelling places were set in the swamplands from whence no mountains rose, in the land of many waters, slow flowing at the sea, in the shallow land lakes, among the mud, out beyond the great plains of reeds, at at the place of many flowers, uh, bedecking plant and tree, where trees grew beards and had branches like ropes. Oh wow, which bound them together. So if y'all ever seen Avatar, this is where they get this stuff from, y'all. For the ground would not support them. Mm. There were butterflies like birds, and spiders as large as the outstretched arms of a man. Wow, this is where they're getting these movies from. I mean, this stuff just flying in my head. The birds of the air and fishes of the water had hues which dazzled the eyes. They lured men to destruction. Even insects fed on flesh of man. Dang. There were elephants in great number, with mighty curved tusks, mammals. This is where they getting this stuff from, y'all. The pillars of the netherworld were unstable. In a great night, of destruction, the land fell into an abyss and was lost forever. When the earth became light, next day man saw man driven to madness. I was talking about Atlantis. All was gone. Men clothed themselves with the skins of beasts and were eaten by wild beasts. Things with clashing teeth used them for food. A great horde of rats devoured everything, so that man died of hunger. The brain eaters hunted men down and slew them. What the brain eaters? The children wandered in plain land like wild beasts, for men and women became stricken with a sickness that passed over the children. That's where they get that movie where all the adults died and the children lived. An issue covered their bodies, which swelled up and burst, while flame consumed their bellies. Oh my goodness. Every man who had an issue of seed within him, and every woman who had a flow of blood died. Yo, this is crazy. This is probably what's gonna come again. They don't have no idea what's about to hit this earth. The children grew up without instruction, and having no knowledge turned to strange ways and beliefs. They became divided according to their tongues. This was the land from whence man came. The great one came from Ramaku, and wisdom came from Zadar. The people who came with Nadha, was wise in the ways of seasons and in the wisdom of the stars. They read the book of heaven with understanding. They covered their dead with potter's clay and hardened it, for it was not their custom to place their dead in boxes. Those who came with the great one were cunning craftsmen in stone. They were carvers of wood and ivory. The high god was worshipped with strange light in places of great silences. They paid homage to the huge sleeping beast in the depths of the sea, the Leviathan, believing it to bear the earth on its back. They believed its stirring plunged lands into destruction. Some said it burrowed beneath them in the Ramaku. There was a great city with roads and waterways, and the fields were bounded with walls of stone and channels. In the center of the land was a great flat-topped mountain of God. The city had walls of stone and was decorated with stones of red and black, white shells and feathers. That sounds like us, don't it? They were heavy green stones in the land, and stones patterned in green, black, and brown. There were stones of Saka, which men cut for ornaments, stones which became molten for cunning work. They built walls of black glass and bound them with glass by fire. They used strange fire from the netherworld, which was but slightly separated from them. The foul air from the breath of the damned. Hold on. I just lost where I was at. They use strange fire. Okay, another word slightly separated. All right. The foul air from the breath of the of the damned rose in their midst. Of the damned, meaning I guess like the damned people, like the people that was in hell. They made eye reflectors of glass stone, which cured the ills of men. They purified men with strange metal and purged them of evil spirits in flowing fire. They dwell in a land of three peoples, but those who came from Ramaku and Zahadar were fewer in number. It was the man of Zahadar who built the great guardian, which ever watches, looking towards the awakening place of God. The day he comes not, its voices will be heard. The day he comes not, its voice will be heard. The olden times, when men lived in the ground, there came the great one whose name is hidden, son of him, son of the sun, chief of the guardians of mysteries, master of rights and spoken word, judge of dispute, advocate of the dead, interpreter of the gods, and father of fishermen. From the west, from beyond Mandai, came the great one, arrayed in robes of black linen and wearing a headdress of red, who taught men the secret of writing and numbers and measurement of the years, who taught the ways of the days, months, who read the meaning of clouds and writing of the night lights, who taught the provisions of the body, that the soul might commune with the living, and that it might be the doorway to the earth, who taught that light is life, who taught the words of God, which spoke to men and hid things from them, which stood in the place of truth for those with understanding, which spoke to the priests, the scribes, and the people differently according to their enlightenment, who taught the beyond the visible and is the invisible, beyond the small, the smaller, and beyond the great, the greater, and all things are linked together in one. Who taught the song of the stars, which now no man knows, and the words of the waters, which are lost? They said everything speaks. The trees, the plants, the waters, everything sings to the Most High. And I actually was watching a wildlife channel, and the man was saying that wolves, when they get up in the morning, they sing. They howl. In the afternoon, they howl. And at night, they howl. When they make a kill, they howl. It's like they giving praise. You know what I mean? Like they giving thanks. And here, we won't even give thanks for one thing. Who taught men to grow corn and to spin, to make bricks and fashion stone after cunning manner? Who taught men the rituals of seashells and the reading of their mysteries and the manner of their speech? Who taught man the nature and knowledge of God? But in the years left to him could not bring them to understanding. Who then veiled the great secrets in simple tales which they could remember, and in signs which would not be lost to their children's children? Who brought the sacred eye from the distant land, and the stone of light made of water, by which men see God? Wow. And the firestone, which gathers the light of the sun before the great shrine. He died in the manner of men, though his likeness is that of God. Then they cut him apart, that his body might make fertile the fields, and took away his head. it might bring them with. This is talking about Nimrod. This is talking about Nimrod, yo. His bones, they did not paint red, for they were not as those of others. This is crazy. These are the words of the sacred writings, recorded after the old customs, as they are. So let them be, for that which is recorded remains with you. The stone of light and the firestone were stolen in the days of disaster, and now knows their resting place. None now knows what their resting place. Therefore, the land is empty. That is crazy. All right, y'all. Let me see if I can find this other one real fast. All right, that was I think this is the one I wanted to read right here. All right, this is the scroll of Camu Shara or something like that. In this fertile black land, there are those who worship the sun, and they call it the greatest and the most bountiful among all gods, the seer of heaven, the of old squalid manner in which men dwelt before the golden one led his people hence. Yeah, that was talking about Nimrod. He came to this fertile land. Now it is a pleasant place with many great cities and contented villages. There is a great broad river of fresh water which rises and falls in its due seasons. Channels there are and waterways which lead the fertilizing waters into the growing things, the herbage and the trees. There are flocks of sheep and herds of cattle on the green pastures. It was not ever thus in the days before Harakta came. All was barren and desolate, naught divided the wilderness from the swamplands filled with reeds. Then there were no cattle or sheep, and the land knew not the hand of man. It lay untilled and unwatered. No land was sown, for they who dwelt in it knew not of the making of waterways, nor did they know how to command the water to make it flow at their behest. There were no cities, and men dwelt in holes in the ground or in places where the rocks was cleft. They walked in their nakedness, or clothed themselves with leaves and or bark, while at night they covered themselves with the skin of wild beasts. They fought with the jackal for food and snatched dead things from the lion. Oh Lord, they crazy. They pulled roots out of the ground and sought for sustenance among things which grew in the mud. They had none to rule over them, nor had they leaders to guide. They knew not obligations or duty. None spoke to them about their manner of life, and none knew their way of truth. They were truly unenlightened in those days. Then came the servant of the sun, and he it was who brought the people together and put the rulers over them. He set Ramar up as king over the whole land, and showed them, man and woman, how to dwell together in the contentment as husband and wife, and he divided their tasks between them. He instructed man in the sowing of corn and the growing of herbs. He instructed them in the tilling of the ground and the manner of cutting and waterways and channels. It was who strode on. He was it. He it was. Sorry, y'all. who showed men the ways of the beasts of the field. He instructed men in working of gold, silver, and of making of vessels from clay. He instructed men in the hewing and cutting of stone and building the temples and cities, the making of linen and the dyeing of clothes that forms garments, ever pleasing to the eyes. He did not teach, neither did he instruct them in the making of bricks or the working of copper. Oh, okay. Then when he departed, he bade the people not to weep, for though he went to his father, the son would adopt them, as his children, and all could become sons of the Son. Thus many became sons and servants of the Son, and they believed what they had heard, that the Son was their Father, and the light of goodness overlooking the whole land. It is this this light that sustains all living things, but within it is the greater light which sustains the spirit. It is the light that enlightens the heart of men. There are lesser lights that guide men about their daily tasks and shield, while people were dumb then, them from harm. There are unseen lights that influence men for good or ill, but it is the great light that banishes coldness and makes all men warm. The warmth it bestows ripens the harvest of men and makes his herds yield their increase. It oversees the whole activity of men on earth as it journeys the skies from one end to the other. Thus it knows the needs of men. Therefore, be like the sun. Wow. Be far-seeing and far-sighted. Be regular in your comings and goings while about your daily tasks. Wow, y'all. When their guide and leader left, the people knew themselves as children of the sun. They were warlike and subdued other people in its name and brought them under its rule. The great temples were raised up to it, and for a time it displaced the greater gods, which the people of this land had set up in their ignorance. The one true God it never despised, for the true God was even hidden from the eyes of the profane and ignorant. Then some priests among those who followed the rule of the sun stole its spirit and brought it down, so that it enlivened the statue and images of their God. Thus the spirit which enlivens all the lesser gods is but the one spirit held in captivity, and not many as the people think. Then came the wise one from the east, and they called and they wait a minute, the wise ones. I'm sorry, y'all. The wise ones from the east, and they caused the people to have other thoughts. They were men who knew the ways of heaven and asked of the people, Is the sun spirit indeed supreme? Is this not a thing requiring much thought? Consider its movements, and they not more like those of one who is directed in his comings and goings. This sounds like Abraham, don't it? But it couldn't be. Does it move about freely as it wills, or is it restricted and held to its appointed path? Like a yoked ox or as the ass treading out corn, does it rise up from the netherworld as it wills and goes down into the cavern of darkness by its own decree? Is Is its path not more like that of a stone hurled forth by the hand of man? Is it not like a boat controlled by the will of a man rather than the ranging God? It is not more like a slave under the direction of a master. These things disturbed the hearts of the people. Some pondered upon them, but others, in the manner of men, cried death to those who denied the truth of these things. However, because of the things said, the worship of the older gods grew in strength, for the people had never turned from Ushara, Usira, who was with them before the first water channel was cut. He was not the God of the highborn, but of the lowly people. This is the land of two peoples, of two nations, two priesthoods, two streams of wisdom, and two hierarchies of God. It is a land where the light of truth burns brightly, though hidden away from the eyes of all but a few. It is the land of dawning on earth. All right, y'all. I just gave y'all. So this is like, to me, it just sounds like things that was going on, before the nation came together. It's like, it seemed like the time of Noah and Nimrod and partially Abraham. But I hope y'all enjoyed that, man. Shalom, shalom, shalom. And all praises to the Most High.